Today's guest is Janet Elias, a New York City educator who lives at the intersection of teaching, technology, and real-world impact. She taught at the largest middle school in Manhattan, where she's deeply proud of the community she served, while also building global connections for students far beyond the classroom. Outside of school, Miss Elias is a content creator exploring the role of AI and innovation in education, and an entrepreneur who, with her husband, owns and operates a small business on Long Island. Her work challenges what it means to be a modern educator. Miss Elias, welcome to Disrupt for Good. Miss Elias, well, you're Miss Elias to me, I feel like forever now since I've been following you, so I'm going to call you Miss Elias during the podcast.
That's fine. I'm used to being called Miss Elias.
Thank you so much for coming on Disrupt for Good today. I'm so honored to have you with me here today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Dylan. I am so honored to now have a new friend.
Yes, me too. Well, I've been following you now for years, and I've wanted to meet you now for a very long time, so this was a great excuse. I have been listening to you preach about the largest middle school in Manhattan.
So the largest middle school.
I needed to hear that in action, in live action. So now that I get to hear it, I'm so honored.
Yes.
So I'm excited to dive deep into that. Your retirement, the car wash on Long Island, your St. Bart's catastrophe this year, all the things. So, I mean, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
You're known as a content creator, from educational videos to social media. What inspired you to start sharing your ideas publicly, and how has that changed your reach or impact?
So I think, like many people, I started making TikToks during COVID. We were all stuck in our houses. I was watching TikTok and I was like, why not me? So I made an account. I called it Miss Elias Chic Geek. And when I was teaching during COVID, I taught for 2 years at home. I was teaching in my basement and I was connected to kids on the screen. Some of them didn't even turn their cameras on. I wanted to make things fun for them. So I would blast my music. I would make TikToks with them. Then they would see it online and we were just having a lot of fun. Now, fast forward to today, I am using my influence, so to speak, in order to help other teachers. I had a lot of teachers DM me asking me all these crazy questions. And mostly about horrible principals and what they should do and where they should work. So I'm always helping teachers. So I had a teacher DM me about their bathroom at their school in Queens. It was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And she sent me video footage. So she sent me video footage. She told me that the bathroom was so bad that nobody could use it. It was like a storage container, and nobody had access to a bathroom in this school in Queens. She told the teachers, the principal told the teachers to call 311 to get it repaired. And that's absolutely insane. So she gave me the footage. I posted it on TikTok, and within 1 day of that video being shared, the principal fixed the bathroom. These teachers did not need 311, they just needed Miss Elias. And we fixed it. And that's what makes me really proud of this platform. So now what I have done is I have reached to other teachers all around New York City, and I have a website, misselias.com, and they just upload their resume, and I am sharing their resumes with principals around the New York City area that are looking to hire really qualified teachers, because it's very hard getting a teaching job, believe it or not.
I do believe it. My aunt's a teacher, and I know from firsthand how hard it is to get yourself out there to the public or to other areas, even if you have that experience of being involved with the teaching system. And it's amazing that you became inspired through the pandemic to put yourself out there in the public eye and use that power for good. And I think it's incredible that people felt that they could connect with you in such an amazing way to share their stories and be vulnerable with you. So that power is really great that you use it in such a positive light.
I'm really trying to make a difference with teachers and educators. And I even posted something where at the end of the year, our schools make us take down our bulletin boards for no reason. I mean, teachers, we'll get into that later, maybe if we talk about it, but teachers are spending their own money on school supplies and they make us rip down our bulletin boards, which is absolutely insane.
I've actually, no, I've witnessed that. You know, as students, we sometimes help. Our teachers do that at the end of the year, help them pack up their classrooms as an activity, so to speak. And I've always wondered why that's something that is necessary, because what are they going to wipe down the bulletin boards?
They don't.
Exactly. So I never found it necessary.
And that's my take. It is not necessary. It's putting more work on the teachers. It's putting more cost on the teachers, and it's just for the principal to feel like they're in power.
Right. I do wonder, in the power of what's going on in the dynamic of a principal-teacher relationship, you can see that some principals are in a relationship where it's a partnership, and some rather it's not. Do you feel as though that you had that relationship at your school, and how does someone combat that if they're feeling like they don't have that within their own school system?
So I tell all the teachers out there, do not fear your principals. I came into this career in my 40s. So I was this, older woman. I dressed well, and I was always well respected by my principals. Most of the time when someone would come visit a school and they would see me, they'd say, "Oh, are you the principal?" Because I was always dressed nice. And I thought that was a really nice compliment. But I have always gotten along with my principals, mainly because I consider them to be on my level. They're not above me. They're not below. I'm not below them. We are equal. So I've never feared my principals, and I've always just been myself with them, and they've always loved and adored me.
That's
always.
Amazing. Yeah. And what about someone who does not seem to have that type of relationship? Because sometimes I've witnessed this in some school districts, that the principal can sometimes be a little nasty, or sometimes not have that type of working relationship with their teachers or professionals in the building.
It happens all the time, and it's really, really sad. We do have unions, a union counselor and chapter leaders that work at our school, and they're supposed to advocate for those teachers that feel nervous to go up to their principal or whatever. But again, everybody's always walking on eggshells. A principal is just running the school building. That's it. And don't be so afraid to bring in your own ideas. And
Correct.
If you do get in trouble with your principal, speak to your union leader.
That's great advice. I want to take a step back for a second and discuss what you were mentioning earlier about teachers providing funds from their own pockets to supply many of what's going on in their classrooms. How does that really work? And do they ever really receive any monetary funds or budgets from their schools in any which way?
Okay. So you're looking at a person that has probably spent, and this is a low estimate, $50,000 of her own money on her classroom.
That's insane.
Okay. Now, I am insane because that's the type of person I am. I have literally done wall-to-wall carpeting. I put curtains in my classroom. I would bring my housekeepers in to clean my classroom in the summertime, getting everything ready. I would take my students to high tea at the plaza. I would take them to get slimed in Soho. I would take them to breakfast at Tiffany's. I buy Starbucks gift cards, everything, all these parties that I will throw for my students. If you add that all up, Dylan, it's at least, in the 22 years, at least over $50,000 that I have personally spent. Now, I could afford it. I have never worked for a paycheck. I have worked because I've loved what I'm doing, honestly.
That's wonderful.
There are teachers that need this income to survive.
100%.
They need it to pay their rent. They need it to buy food for their children. They need it. And that's where I find it to be horrible that teachers are using their own money to buy school supplies, their own money to buy paper towels, tissues, anything you need for your classroom.
Correct.
It's absolutely insane. Would we have an NFL player buy the footballs for the game?
Never, ever.
Would we ask the surgeon that is going to operate on us to get the surgical supplies and bring them into the operating room?
Never.
Why are we asking teachers, the lowest paid job, to buy equipment for their classroom? Because we've made it normal. We've normalized it, Dylan. We've normalized it, which is insane.
Correct.
Insane. So what I did this year, I knew I was retiring. I said, I am going to try something. I'm going to try a little project, and I'm going to see if I don't spend one penny of my own money on my classroom. I'm going to see. So I said to my girlfriend, my work daughter, I said, I'm not spending any money on my classroom this year. And she's like, oh, no way. You're never going to do that. Everything's top notch in your classroom. I said, I'm serious. I'm not. Okay. So I didn't. So when the kids needed tissues, I didn't have tissues because I normally buy it. I'd say, oh, go to the bathroom and get whatever's there, paper towel or whatever. Okay. One day there was a substitute and a student had drawn a very inappropriate picture on the desk when I returned. I had no cleaning supplies because I didn't buy it.
Correct.
I asked the student to go to the main office, get the cleaning supplies, bring them back, and we wiped it down. I survived. And if I could survive after spending over $50,000 on my classroom, a young teacher can survive too. It really, really makes me sad because we have really normalized them buying things. And you did ask how much they will get paid. A teacher in the New York City Department of Ed can spend $250 of their own money and be reimbursed as long as it meets a certain criteria.
Understood.
Yeah.
I still think that's very low.
It's very low.
For
yes.
what some teachers do need and what they require year to year. And I have seen in some school districts that some parents and families will be asked to provide some Ziploc bags and tissues and stuff like that, and still to
well,
this
that's
day,
also absurd. It should come from the taxes.
Correct.
It should come from their taxes,
Correct.
right?
Correct. You're spending this amount of money to be spent to supply the classrooms and also to be spent in the school districts. But to this day, I think that it's you know, absurd.
It really is absurd. But somebody, like hopefully us, we can make a difference and tell teachers, stop spending your own money. It's crazy.
It is.
Right?
It's obscene. Yeah. I want to take a back step also as well. I don't think we actually formally introduced you to the audience.
Sure.
To explain what you did at Wagner and the exact role you played there. Were you a teacher at Wagner for 22 years? Were you at any other school district or any other particular school before that? Or was it Wagner the whole way through?
No, I started my career at a school called PS 46 in Bayside. And it was a fabulous school. I adored my principal. It was a blue ribbon school. It was wonderful. My principal gave me carte blanche. I set up a beautiful technology program there. And I absolutely loved it, loved it. I was written up in the New York Times for teaching my students about how to use it, how to write a tweet. And I taught them social media. And I redeveloped the technology room 3 times since I was there. So my children move into Manhattan, and I see myself constantly going into Manhattan and visiting them after work. You know, a teacher gets out at 3:00, and I was always going in to meet them. But there was that downtime between 3 and 7 when we were meeting up. That was always killing me. I would go to Bloomingdale's and kill some time before we met for dinner or before we went to a social event. And I said to myself, I want to be part of this excitement. I want to get an apartment in the city. I want to work in the city. So what I did was there's something called open market where you can transfer schools. So I told my principal, I'm looking to transfer to a school in Manhattan. And she was crying. She was like, oh my God, you're leaving me. I said, I really, really want to be closer to my children, and I want to work in Manhattan, and I want the excitement. I wanted that New York City excitement, because when you're working in Queens and you're going home to Long Island, there's no excitement.
It's sleepy.
It's boring.
Yeah.
But when you're working in Manhattan and you get out at 3:30 and you meet your friends at the Carlisle for drink, that's fun.
Right, and when the sun sets at even at like 4:30 in the wintertime, it's not dead. And when you're going back home to the suburbs, it's sleepy time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I get it more than anyone.
Yeah, so this was my Manhattan era, and I'm really glad that I had the balance of both. You know, I had 10 years in Queens, and it was a great school. I loved it. I have the best memories, and then I have 11 years at Wagner.
That's amazing.
And again, great memories, and totally different night and day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's great for people to have different types of perspectives and different types of journeys as well.
Right.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, you got a sneak peek from that answer, but you were involved at different school districts as a technology teacher, introducing students into the social media space, and now as we are entering the AI world as well, correct?
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
So you're called a technology facilitator.
Okay.
So I was the technology facilitator at both of my schools. It's also called a SPOC. If anyone works for the New York City Department of Ed, they know that lingo. So when you work for the New York City Department of Ed and you're a tech teacher, there's no curriculum, nothing. I wrote everything that I taught my students. If I wanted to teach my kids about this plant, it was whatever I wanted to do. But of course, I didn't do that. I literally raised the bar and I said, you know what? I am going out of the box and teaching them about everything. I remember when Amazon Go opened up. Remember Amazon Go, where you
Yes.
just walk in, you didn't have to take anything out, and you just
Is it
pick
the
off,
shopping cart?
no, where you just take everything off the shelves, remember?
Yes.
Yeah. And I just did a lesson on that, teaching them about wireless shopping. So it was whatever I wanted to teach them is what I taught them.
Understood. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some sort of flexibility and fun with that a little bit.
It was a lot of work creating it, but yeah. But again, nobody ever questioned anything I was doing. They were always amazed, and other teachers kept coming and asking me for my content and my lessons. Yeah.
I'm sure it's because it's brilliant at the end of the day, and I'm sure everyone was jealous that you kind of had that role to kind of be creative with it.
Yeah.
You and your husband own and operate a car wash on Long Island, which surprises a lot of people who know you as an educator and creator. How did that opportunity come into your lives?
So it does surprise people that we have a car wash. However, the car wash is one of my husband's least entrepreneurial feats that he's done in his life. It's the least. So my husband, when I met him, he owned a nightclub.
Very cool.
A really cool nightclub. And it was called Heskel's, and it was in Forest Hills. And it was a real hot spot. Real hot spot. He had Madonna perform for him for $500. So that was back in the day. So it was a really cool discotheque, and he sold it right before we got married. But my husband was always in car wash businesses, movie theaters, real estate development, and he's always been a jack of all trades. But primarily, he's a real estate developer, and he has redeveloped Forest Hills. He is like the mayor of Forest Hills on Austin Street.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So going into that business at the car wash, how long have you guys owned it, operated it as well, and kind of gotten yourselves involved? Because I see, you posting content there as well.
So this car wash we've owned for 18 years. Others, we've been in the business for about 40 years in the car wash business. But this particular one in Roslyn, we've owned for about 18 years. Now, this one is very special to me because it's right across from the Americana. So you're right across from Louis Vuitton. You're right across from Hermes. And those clients are our clients. So we want to keep everything pristine for them. So it's not a regular car wash that you're thinking, oh my goodness, a car wash, how embarrassing. It is an experience. It is beautiful. We have a state-of-the-art tunnel. We have a beautiful, beautiful store that I curate. And we have all educational toys because I don't want my customers buying junk because I'm a teacher and I know what resonates with parents. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful experience. We're very involved in the community. I will have the Girl Scouts come and sell cookies in front of my store. I will do fundraisers for cystic fibrosis and for Buma Esiason, and now, like this weekend, we're having the Easter Bunny there. So the Easter Bunny will hand out gifts to everybody. So we love what we do, and we make it a wonderful, top-notch experience. We have a bathroom in this car wash that is more beautiful than a hotel bathroom.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I mean,
go a little extreme.
Honestly, though, why not? I mean, it sounds great. I love the Americana, first of all, but second of all, I mean, it's an experience.
It is an experience. If anyone has not been there, you have to come. It is not a regular car wash. I'm telling you, it is just, you have to come and visit, please.
Side note, I do like a good car wash, so I'm making my way over there.
Absolutely.
Just so you know.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm going to go to the yogurt and such after. That's
Okay.
like my perfect day. What have you learned about running a small business that you never could have learned in a classroom?
Okay, so I deal with a lot of personalities, a lot. Running a small business, I need to be the yes person and be like, yes, because the customer is always right. That's my attitude. They're always right. I want everyone to leave with a wonderful feeling. And sometimes you have to take it on the chin in case someone's complaining about something and I disagree with them. I'm going to yes them. I'm going to say, yes, we're going to do whatever you need. And they're going to leave feeling wonderful and they're going to talk my place up. I always, even if I don't agree with them, I'm going to agree with them.
That makes sense.
Right. Now, my students, I don't have to do that with them. I am 100% honest with them, the opposite. So if they're not doing the right thing, I'm telling them. Even if it's a hard discussion, I'll have that discussion with a parent. Even if it's uncomfortable, and I've had lots of uncomfortable conversations. I had a student recently, and it brought me to tears, this story. He was in my class in 6th grade, and then I had him again in 7th grade. And he was so wonderful in 6th grade. He'd come into my classroom, he'd give me a hug. Miss Elias, can I have lunch with you? And he was such a bubbly person. Come 7th grade, his attitude was totally horrible. He was horrible. He was mean, he was vindictive, he was coming to class late. He didn't want to do any work. And he would come to school with his jacket completely zipped up and his hood on. Just picture a child sitting in their desk with their hood and jacket on. And it didn't sit right with me.
Yeah, very closed off. Sad.
So I called mom and I spoke to mom and I told her everything I just said to you. And I said, Mom, do you know he's wearing his jacket in school and he's, his attitude has completely changed. Well, she welcomed everything I said. And the next day he came into class and I actually saw what he was wearing. He had this beautiful red sweatsuit on. And I said to him, oh my God, look at you. What is going on? There was no jacket, no nothing. I said, did this have anything to do with my phone call home to Mom last night? And he said, yes. He said, Mom and I had a long conversation. And he said, the old me is out. I'm tired of being grumpy and mean. And this is the new me. I'm starting a new chapter. So we have these conversations and we have them in order to change the children. So yes, I do have 2 different personalities. Yes. I'm a yes man in the car wash and I'm a no woman in the classroom.
But I look at that story and I think of it as like more so of I'm empowering more so or like helping to support or help change than a more so of a no in a way. So I think that that's really incredible and empowering.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Miss Elias, you've built a career on bridging education and innovation. From New York City classrooms to global initiatives, how did your journey begin and what first sparked your passion for technology and learning?
So my journey began when I was working for TWA. I don't know if you know that airline, but it was back in the day, Trans World Airlines.
I do because when I go to JFK, I see the hotel
yes,
and I'm like always like, it's so cool.
It's a blast from the past.
Yes.
So I used to work for TWA and I'd fly all around the world, first class, $10. $10 anywhere you wanted to go. I know.
Lucky.
It was a wonderful life. So anyway, they went under and I was no longer working and I had just had my son. So TWA went under and that made the decision for me to be a stay-at-home mom. Okay, so I'm a stay-at-home mom and my children are going to nursery school. They went to Robin Hood in Brookville. And then while they're out for those 3 hours, I find myself thinking about things of what I'm going to do with them. Little did I know, now fast forward, I know I was writing lesson plans. I was figuring out what to do with them when they came home, making worksheets, creating assignments, just doing a multitude of activities that really is like what a teacher would prepare for a lesson. So I really enjoyed doing all of those things with my children. I actually, at one point, I took index cards and I wrote sight words and I labeled my entire house. I was like, why shouldn't I have it in my house? If people have it in their classroom, let me label my house. My kids will always remember that. It said TV, it said bed. I wanted them to learn how to read. I obviously taught them how to read through all these little things that I was doing. I did not realize that I was scaffolding all these lessons because, now when I look back, that's what I was doing. And it was the best thing in the entire world. It was the best joy. And I didn't do it quickly either, because I still wanted to raise my children. So I went back to school and to become an educational teacher. And I probably took 6 credits a semester, and I scheduled it around their naps, when I would have my housekeeper watching the children. I took classes on the weekends. So it took me a few years in order to get my teaching degree. And my kids were there for my graduation. So it was really, really special. And when I graduated from CW Post, I was an adult. They used me in a campaign with my children in order to entice people to come back to go back to school. You're never too late to learn. Never. I'm a lifelong learner.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy. I think some people do need to remember that it's never too late. And
Never too late.
You can also always switch paths and careers to really figure out what you're destined to do and where you belong. And it seems like you really found the path that you were belonging in. And
Well, after I graduated with my elementary ed, I went right into my master's. I figured, because I know you need to have a master's in order to teach, I said, I'm not going to take a break. I'm going to go straight forward. And I was deciding between literacy or educational technology. Now, at the time, technology was nothing. Nobody was even talking about it. We were using a program called WordPerfect. That was it. Way before your time. I mean, back then the kids were using Oregon Trail, remember?
Yeah.
That was it. There was no high tech, nothing. So I went into technology and I did my master's in educational technology, and it gave me that edge that I didn't need to catch up to people my age, that I'm ahead of the curve.
Correct.
And I will never regret that decision.
No, and always having that extra mastery of education and skill will always put you at the top, I feel like, because it never hurts, I feel like.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. You've mentioned your work with Global Classroom, an incredible program which connects students worldwide. Can you tell our listeners how it works and why building global bridges through education matters to you?
So Global Classroom is a program that is run at the New York City Department of Education through a foundation called Sophie Gerson Healthy Youth. I suggest everyone look it up. It is a great program. It's a nonprofit. So they pay for this program to be done at schools. I happen to be the coordinator for the program. When I told them I was retiring, they asked me to stay on as a consultant. And I said, absolutely, I love this work. I'm not walking away from it. So what I do is I connect children around the New York City public schools with children around the world, making videos back and forth to each other. We either make videos or we live Zoom with each other. So the schools that I am dealing with right now are Ukraine. We just got 10 schools in Israel, Nepal, Ghana, Spain, and India. I'm probably forgetting a school, but it's really incredible. I was doing a live Zoom with Ukraine, and the teacher had WhatsApped me and said, oh, we might not be able to meet with you. The bombs are going off. So lo and behold, she texts me back and she's like, we're in the Zoom, come and join us. They were in a bomb shelter.
Wow.
They were Zooming in a bomb shelter with my students. And what a teachable moment for my kids to see how they showed up for school in a bomb shelter. When my kids have the life where, oh, we're going to go out to lunch, we're going to go to Starbucks, we're going to go to Chick-fil-A, I'm going to take this girl out to a movie tonight, whatever. These kids don't have that same life. They are living in a war zone. So to me, you can't put a price on this program. It is amazing. I absolutely love it. And with the schools in Israel, I was just on a Zoom with them, coordinating these new 10 schools, trying to figure out what schools I was going to give them to. And all of a sudden, the sirens went off. And we have to go. That's it. The screens went blank. And I didn't hear from them for like 8 days. I was so worried. Finally, she connected with me. She said, everything's fine. The kids are learning remotely and we're bringing the program back. But it's so important for our New York City children to see how children live around the world and what they are going through. And my kids have so much empathy for them, so much when they're talking back and forth. It's a program I have my whole heart in.
I have so much gratitude for that story. I hope that every school would at least try to implement that, because all these students around the U.S., or at least in a lot of these cities, should be trying at most to get involved and learn more about other cultures, but most importantly, try to immerse themselves with other perspectives and other, history and what other people are going through, because there's so much going on in
There's
this world
so
right
much
now.
going on around the world. And I had a lot of Jewish students where I taught at Wagner, and they all wanted to, join in on whatever. When I would say, okay, let's see what school I'm going to group you with, they always wanted Israel. They always did, And then my Ukrainian students wanted Ukraine too. But it's fascinating. It really is.
It is. I think it's so special that you implemented this program, because a lot of students should be getting involved out there to really understand what's really going on in the world. And they're not watching the news every night. They're not, they're on their phones, they're on social media. But I feel like people their age are probably more focused on their everyday lives, playing sports, activities, what's going on in their lives, rather than focusing on what really is going on day to day in other countries and stuff like that. So it's great that you...
I had a student who was going to Poland for vacation. And I said to her, when you go to Poland, see if you could find me a school in Poland to talk back to, because I'm always looking for other countries, for the kids to connect to.
Absolutely. I would be too. It's something that is so unique and something so special that I would be looking to add this in every single classroom if possible. So
Yes,
it's wonderful.
very important.
Yeah. You've taught tech and digital citizenship in one of the most dynamic cities in the world. What are the joys and challenges of teaching tech literacy in New York City?
Well, teaching technology and digital citizenship in New York City is not for the faint of heart. I mean, these kids are street smart. They are city slickers, if you know what I mean.
I do.
I mean, my kids grew up in Long Island. They are not like these kids. These kids will help me take a subway somewhere. They know more than I know. I'm like, if we're on a class trip, hey, where are we going? But anyway, they are exposed to so much out there on the internet. And they could also be very mean to each other. So we had a lot of cyberbullying, a lot.
I'm not surprised.
A lot of cyberbullying, and my job is to teach them to be upstanders and to stick up for people that are being cyberbullied. Sexting is going on. We have had children put on Instagram that they're going to bring a gun to school, where we've had to have police presence at the school the next day. Because it was that serious, where we were in the New York Post because of it. It's really, really serious what the kids are doing.
That's scary.
And it's a tough job, because I know my job is to teach them that this is the wrong thing to do. I mean, and I try to do it to the best of my ability. Now, we had a situation where, unfortunately, we lost a student just recently over a TikTok trend. And that trend was subway surfing.
Wow.
And I don't know if you saw just recently 2 girls that died from subway surfing. One of them was my student. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful girl. Just made a silly mistake by following this trend. So I have a lot of pressure on me. And I did it to the best of my ability, teaching them the pros and the cons of social media. And when I have a student come up to me and report something, that's when I know I'm doing the right thing. When they're an upstander and they show me something, and then I bring it right to the higher person that is going to deal with that and write that report and follow up with the police.
It's really something that needs to be taken seriously in this day and age. And
I have been to the police station because of students. So yeah, it is tough.
Yeah.
It really is.
And not every school, I believe, has an individual like you who can help mitigate these situations or have the support to go to, someone and share this type of information, or have the comfort to really have that person to say, this is what's going on. So I think that's really something that people need to be mindful of, maybe in other school districts as well. because it's definitely prevalent out there, especially
Absolutely.
by sharing that story.
Yeah, and I always tell all my parents, always, every parent-teacher conference, you have to know your child's password. You have to look at their phone. First of all, they shouldn't really even have phones. That's a whole nother story. But you have to be on top of what they're doing. You have to read their group chats if you're a parent. You have to. You're their parent. You have to know what they're getting involved with.
I think at that age, especially, it's very important for them to be aware of what's going on with their child's life. Because I think that in a city like New York, like you said, they're a lot more savvy and they have more access and exposure to things rather than a kid from Kentucky or like a kid from anywhere else in the world. Like,
Absolutely.
this city offers a lot and it's special, but at the end of the day, it also is a lot at the same time.
Yeah.
And I have noticed that in college, you know, I do gravitate towards a lot of the city kids. A lot of them are my best friends, but they were a lot more fast-paced and a lot more with it when we got to school and mature. And you can tell that they were exposed to much more at a younger age because they're from the city, which I think is so different than a lot of the suburban kids.
Yeah, it's just too much information overload.
Yes, absolutely. How have your approaches evolved as technology and kids' relationship with technology has changed over the years?
So my approach has flip-flopped over the years, being a technology teacher. So when I first became a tech teacher, it was in 2005, the kids came into a computer lab. They used it, a computer. It wasn't part of their life. They came in once a week. That was it, right? Then fast forward to, say, 2016. Kids started having a cart of Chromebooks in their room, just a cart that the teachers would wheel up and down the hallways.
I remember that.
Teachers would share these wonderful devices, right?
Yes.
Now it's a one-to-one. Every child has a Chromebook because they're so cheap. It's
Yes.
a $300, $200 item.
Yes.
So every student has a technology device from 8 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. And it's ridiculous. It's unheard of. These kids are immersed in technology and they're not learning the way they should be. I'd like to roll it back to having textbooks again because I have seen the distraction. These kids have another tab open at all times. They're listening to music. They're not focused on that lesson. And they're playing a game, whether it's Fortnite or whatever game they want, Snakes, all these games that they're playing.
Yeah,
And
you're
they're-
aware.
And I'm aware of it. And they're addicted to these games too.
Yeah.
They're addicted to it. So, and teachers, not myself, but there are many teachers that throw the laptop in front of them and it's a babysitter. It's a babysitter for the teacher. And I know that it has been harmful to them. I know that for a fact. The kids are addicted to screens.
Correct.
Addicted.
Yeah.
And we need to stop that. My last technology lesson with my students, they came into my classroom and I said, "Welcome to your last class with Miss Elias." Everything was unplugged. Everything. Computers are unplugged. And what are we doing? What are we doing? I said, "We're unplugged. I'm going to talk to you." And I talked to them about the purpose of being a child and unplugging. I said, "You were only 12, 13, or 13 years old." I said, "You guys need to be children. You need to unplug. You need to step away from these devices. This is just a tool. It cannot take over your lives." And I have seen it happening, Dylan. I go into a restaurant, the whole entire family, the kids are sitting in front of a phone.
Oh, it's pathetic.
It's disgusting.
I can't believe the parents, the amount of times I see parents just throw a tablet in front of their little children just so that they can get them to be quiet.
Exactly.
It's so sad.
And that's why we have books like The Anxious Generation. And there's a program called Wait Until 8 for getting your child a phone. I commend any parent that is raising their child screen-free.
Yes.
I commend them.
Yes.
It takes a lot, but in the long run, I know it is well worth it. I know my two children would not be the successful children they are today if they were immersed in this type of lifestyle.
Yeah, I don't disagree
And I
whatsoever.
blame the parents, nobody else, because the parents are going out and buying that iPad and shoving it in front of their face. And I also blame the schools that are using technology way too much.
Correct.
Way too much.
And I actually noticed that Apple themselves, the past maybe 3 weeks ago, just launched the MacBook Neo so that they can also be a part of that process with schools, so that they could be in that competitive range.
Yeah, it's like a $500
laptop.
I know, I'm going to try it when it comes out, but yes, absolutely. They want to be in that cheap, area of like a Chromebook.
Yeah.
And the kids just destroy them anyway. I mean, these books are like, they don't even take care of it.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think it's, as the years have gone on, they're being used more and more. The textbooks are now being uploaded online. They're throwing away the books, and it's
But colleges
interesting.
are bringing back the blue books, which I like.
Yes, we have been using blue books.
Good.
I've been noticing
and
as
I like
well.
that. I really like that.
Yeah.
Because you need to know that it's somebody's voice. You need to have your voice in whatever you're writing. And it's I know they have the Turnitin and all that type of software, but I think that puts the pressure on everyone that this is going to come now. I feel like it's changing. I really do.
No, I agree completely.
Yeah.
How can teachers and students use AI responsibly to enhance creativity and critical thinking without losing sight of human-centered learning?
So when AI first came out towards the end of 2022, the first thing the Department of Education did was block it. And I had just made a lesson on teaching them about AI. I came into my classroom and it was blocked. We have two networks, an educational network that the children can see, and we have an administrative network for the teachers. It was blocked on both networks, which meant even a principal couldn't access it. Nobody in the building could access AI. That was their stance. Then they loosened up a little bit and they said that who's ever in charge of unblocking the sites can unblock it. So that was my role, and I unblocked ChatGPT at my school. Now, before I unblocked it, I screen recorded the lesson and I showed them everything prior to everything happening. So my first lesson showing the children how powerful AI was I taught them a prompt to ask ChatGPT to give them a list of every Disney movie by genre and by year. It spitted out this list that was going on and on and on and on, all the Disney movies. And I said to them, that would have taken us weeks to research, weeks. So they got really fascinated with me teaching them how to write prompts. And then we moved on to AI scams. I did a whole unit on voice cloning. It's really scary. And I show them stuff on how very bright professionals get scammed. I said, if they're getting scammed, this is easy for you guys to get scammed too. So one of their homework assignments is always to make a code word with their family. In case they get a phone call saying, Mary, you have to come home with whatever it is, you have a code word. So it was really important for me to teach them how to use it ethically, and most of all, that it's not going to replace them, AI. But the student that knows how to use AI is going to replace you at the job interview.
Correct.
Yes.
And it's definitely part of the evolving world. And to use it responsibly and ethically is so important, and not as a crutch. I think it's not going to replace the human in you, but I think it is going to replace the long-term thinking that's not necessary. It's like almost like we use it at Surhant as like an assistant in a way that can take away the time-consuming processes that we don't need to constantly maneuver throughout our days, which I think is great.
Right. It's really amazing. It really is. Yes. And that's my next chapter, AI consulting.
Yes.
So yes.
Which I think is great.
Really good.
It's going to keep evolving as we
You can't keep up with it. It's so much,
Yeah,
right?
it's growing and growing. And I think people really are trying to catch up. And it's
They are right now. Absolutely.
hard to keep up.
Yes.
If you could share one piece of advice with young educators or aspiring creators listening today, what would it be?
Well, we already said stop spending your money, so I hope they
I hope you
that
listen
advice.
to that.
Stop spending your own money. But another piece of advice I would tell young teachers is stop coming to school dressed like slobs. Many of them come to school wearing their Lululemon pants, a t-shirt, their sneakers, hair thrown on top of their head. Some of them look like they just rolled out of bed. I always had the motto, dress for success, and your children, your students will respect you. Many people will disagree with me. They'll say, oh, I'm teaching kindergarten, I'm rolling on the floor. Well, you know what? I taught kindergarten too. And you could wear a nice pair of jeans or whatever. But I just see that this industry has gotten more laxed with the way teachers are showing up for work, even for interviews, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. I've seen teachers waiting in my school office for an interview, and that's just me, that I know when I'm dressed nice and I'm dressed for success, my students say, oh, Miss Elias, I love the way you look. And I'd say, I love the way you look also. It's really important to dress nice and you'll feel better about yourself.
I completely have the same philosophy, and I don't think that you're wrong in anything that you just said, because there's more respect for the person that you are when you walk into a room. First of all, it makes you feel good. Second of all, I feel like it commands a little bit more respect for yourself when you walk into that room.
Right.
And I feel like in a middle school setting, you basically look like your student.
Exactly. Many of them look like, and I'd be like, oh my God, I'd say to someone, I thought you were a kid. Oh my, yes.
Yes.
They really do.
Right.
And like I said, when people would come into my building, they'd look at me and say, oh, you're the principal. Because I was always dressed nice.
Right.
And I'd say, no, I'm not the principal. The principal's over there. You know?
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. Like being in that type of outfit is what a student would wear to school, which is completely fine. The students can wear whatever they want.
Yeah, and they do. Pajamas, slippers.
I know they do.
Yeah, that's another thing. They come to school they're ready to go right back to bed.
Right.
They're dressed in like COVID days.
Exactly. It's gotten more lax since COVID,
Yes.
I know that. But
I think that's really important, that teachers should dress nice. Why do they dress nice on the first day of school? They're all in their perfect outfits.
It's summer, right after summer.
They're in their dresses. They all look beautiful first day of school. Then that's it. Then when the superintendent visits, guess what? All the teachers get dressed up. Why? Dress up for yourself and your students, not to impress the parents on the first day of school and not to impress the superintendent.
Correct.
And that's what happens at my school.
I'm not a fan of that either. I really don't.
I'm not at all.
It's fake. It's
I
very
know.
fake.
I'm honest.
No, and I love honesty. For teachers out there who are listening, or other professionals, how did you know it was the right time to retire?
That's a really hard question. Nobody ever knows when it's the right time to retire. Again, this career was never a financial reason to stay. I feel like it was the right time based on the new leadership coming in. I am not a fan of the new mayor. I'm not a fan of where the city's going. I'm not a fan of what he's doing with the New York City Department of Education. We have a program called the Gifted and Talented Program. He's doing away with that. I feel that children that are successful and children that need the tools both should have the same resources, that everybody should have these resources and not do away with that. It's tough. It really is tough. The behavior has changed also. We have something called the Chancellor's Regulations. And when I started in 2005, the regulations were stronger when the children would misbehave. Now the children misbehave and absolutely nothing happens.
Wow.
They have a discussion. We had a conversation. Back in the day when a child did something horrible, they had a suspension. They had a suspension where they had to stay home and their parents had to take care of it.
Right.
Now, if they have a suspension, they send them to another school. So one of my students was suspended. He was out for about a week and he came back and I said, oh, I missed you. Tell me, what did you do, at this other school? He said, nothing. I said, what do you mean you did nothing? I did nothing. He said, I sat on my phone all day. I sat in the back of the classroom and I was on my phone. I said, what about the teacher that you were in the classroom with? Didn't she stop you or he stop you? He said, no. He said, no, wow. I just followed the kids from class to class. He did this for a week and that was his suspension.
Wow.
So there's really no consequences for the kids anymore. For example, we have a cafeteria. The children are supposed to pick up their tray and put it in the trash, right? You'd think that was an easy thing to do. You have 2 arms, you have 2 legs.
Yeah, of course.
You're smart, you know what to do. Well, guess how many kids just leave their tray on the table? I'm going to say...
Everyone, 0. I'm assuming like 100%.
I'm going to say we have a good majority of kids that just walk away from their food instead of doing the right thing. Now, nothing happens to them. There's no consequences. So they know. I have seen the principal throwing out the trays, assistant principals throwing out the trays. If I tell them to clean up, they'll say, it wasn't mine, it wasn't mine. And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you could do.
But no one's facing repercussions
No
or anything like that.
repercussions whatsoever. If I was in charge, I would say, door shut, nobody's going out to recess until every tray is thrown out.
Correct.
Every tray. But they can't do that. They're with these chancellor's regulations, they don't have the authority to hold everybody in a room and do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
they're so scared, and there's so much policy out there. It's very hard. I don't blame you. It's hard to be part of something where you once saw it one way, and then now watch it almost fall down and crumble and see it a different way.
For like we mentioned, the student with the coat. I have students walking up and down the hallways with their coats on all day long. I never would see a student wearing a coat. They would hang up their coat in the cupboard. They would go throughout their day. They would walk in the hallways. No more. They're running like crazy in the hallways. There's no discipline. And that's a norm. That's a norm.
Yeah. That's chaotic.
Yeah, because they know they can get away with it. It didn't happen back in 2005. That would never fly.
Right.
Never.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Times have really changed.
They really, really have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was the right time. I don't feel like the New York City Department of Education is going to get better. I don't feel that he's going to do a good job with the real estate developers in New York City either. And there's a lot of change going on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, in real estate, I'm watching it also fall down and crumble right now as we speak, and I'm hoping that we don't see those taxes get implemented and mansion taxes and so forth and whatever you want to say, but we'll see. I mean, it's one person saying that he's going to do this and that, but it's just unfortunate is the right word, I think, for what New York City has come to.
And he wants also to pull out mayoral control over the New York City schools as well, where the mayor won't run the schools anymore. And we haven't had that. I mean, Bloomberg initiated it, so I couldn't even imagine a world with that, with no mayor control with the city schools. Yeah,
I can't imagine that either. How does that even work?
I don't even know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, good for you for bowing out.
Yes. So I bowed out when it was the right time, and I was high.
Yeah.
Up high.
Mm-hmm. Ending high is always the right way to do it.
Yes.
So congratulations.
Mm-hmm. Without being burnt out.
Yes. Prior to your retirement a few weeks ago, you wore Wagner on your sleeve. What do you want to be remembered for as an educator?
Well, since I've been teaching so long, I already know what I'm remembered for, because my kids have been through kindergarten all the way to college, and they're all in their careers already. So they contact me. And I know that I was loved and adored. I know that. That's all I wanted to show them, is that I loved them. They loved me back. We had so much fun. I hear from parents all the time. They always reach out to me. Students that I have taught have told me they went into computer science because of me. They're working on coding programs because of me. They built their own apps because of me. So it's things like that that make me feel good. When I would go into my classroom, I felt like a celebrity every day. I felt like I was Taylor Swift. The way the kids would come up to me, Miss Elias, you were out yesterday. Oh my God, we missed you. And that's the feeling that I will always treasure when I run into them, and I'll continue to run into them. If it's in the Hamptons or on a flight to St. Bart's, it's always a warm welcome, a hug, and they always tell me how much they love and adore me, and it's reciprocal.
That's the best. Mm-hmm. My favorite relationships with teachers is when there was that type of bond where it felt so real, and I feel like you had that with your students as well, so that's so special.
Yes.
And I loved sometimes having, those moments with teachers, whether it be like a lunch or whatever, or extra help, but it would sometimes be even in high school and middle school where I would sometimes, I have some of my teachers' phone numbers, you know.
Well, now
it's
my
so
kids,
special.
now my kids have mine because I'm retired. I'm like, yes, contact me. I'll come. I'm going to take them all out for lunch. Absolutely.
It's so special.
Yes.
It's so great. And I run into them sometimes I'll just have, 20-minute conversations just to catch up, and it's
Right.
a
It's
great
so
relationship.
wonderful. It really is. There's no more special relationship
Yeah.
than a teacher and a student. Really, it's wonderful.
Absolutely. All right, well, Miss Elias, this was absolute pleasure. I've been wanting to
Dylan,
meet
thank
you
you
for
so
long.
much. I'm so happy that I came and that now I have a new friend in town.
Same
I love
here.
it. Absolutely.
And now we can
And
hang
you're
out.
coming to the car wash.
Absolutely. I am making my way as we speak. I want to have a whole day out on Long Island,
Wonderful.
so we'll do
And
it.
then we'll go over to the Americana and we'll go to Toku for lunch. Okay.
Done deal. Done deal. All right,
Wonderful.
guys. All right. Talk to you guys soon.